Southeast Texas Weekly, brought to you by the Modern Vein Surgery Institute at Previty Clinic for Surgical Care.
Hello again and welcome back to Southeast Texas Weekly. I'm Kevin Steele. Great having you with us here to talk politics. Doing so, James Shannon with the Beaumont Examiner, here to whip up the masses on the left, and Jeff Lewis, political activist for the Republican Party. Good to see you guys. Listen, events are beginning to roll in now, where breaking news is beginning to show us an emerging story out of the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, where a county clerk refused to comply with the Supreme Court's order to issue same-sex marriage licenses to at least one couple. In so doing, a judge has now ordered her to be jailed. An extraordinary development in that story. When we see this, this seems to show a new pattern for what will be happening around the country. You don't expect this to be the last time we see this, do you?
A clerk being
Clerks
jailed
being
for
jailed?
refusing to abide by that. I mean, I thought she could be removed. I suppose she's being jailed on contempt by the judge in order to do so. And anytime you get involved in a process like that, she doesn't have to serve. She doesn't have to issue licenses because she doesn't have to be the clerk. She should resign.
She could resign.
But when you defy a federal...
Should she resign, Jeff Lewis?
She has a few options. One of those is a resignation. I mean, you can't argue. I mean, y'all know my position on this. I'm completely against the Supreme Court ruling. It came down. I think it was bogus, and I think it was needs to be reconsidered. However, that's the law of the land currently. In her job, she took an oath to uphold the duties of her office. Okay, and if at the time that was not in conflict with her religion. Now it is.
Authority.
So now, I mean, you got to make a choice.
Legal authority upon which she must make her decision. What about the moral authority?
And she's got to make her own decision on that. Are my beliefs in conflict too much with my job, where I can no longer do my job? If that's the case, she should step down.
James Shannon, we are a nation of laws, are we not?
Yeah.
We're a nation of laws. We have to abide by the laws. Legal officials in the United States must comply with the law, or else they're going to go to jail. In this case. However, there is this interesting matter of whether the Defense of Marriage Act, in fact, was enforced by this administration. Is that not a skirting of the law? That's in the U.S. Code. What about the decision to not enforce the law on drug regulations in this nation? Come on. We're not always enforcing the law. We're not always following the law in this great land of the free and the brave when it comes to the law-abiding citizen, are we?
You can say that about a lot of policies, including immigration. I remember the slaughterhouse in Iowa. I think that 600 people were arrested there as illegals, and when they were being taken away on bus after bus after bus. Where were the guys that ran the slaughterhouse that hired those guys? Did they accidentally hire 600 people? No. Let me put it this way. In the 60s, the Voting Rights Act ordered clerks to register blacks to vote.
All right.
If there would have been a court that would have refused to do that, they should have been.
Let's take a one shot on Mr. Lewis and talk to him about this while we get your microphone pulled back forward. Can we take a one shot on Mr. Lewis or something here for a few moments so we can give our man a moment? There you got it. All right. While you do that, I'm going to ask Jeff Lewis this question. When it comes to this matter of same-sex marriage licenses, are we going to see a pattern emerge across the country where a number of people are going to be jailed on religious objections? And when it comes to this question, do we not have a long history of civil disobedience rather in this country?
Yes, we do. And
are there religious freedoms being impinged upon in the case of Ms. Davis in Rowan County, Kentucky, and elsewhere?
I don't actually think in this particular case that's an impingement of religious freedom. I mean, she has a very defined job to do. Okay. That said, yeah, widespread. I think there's going to be some jailings, and I think some of it will be illegitimate. However, okay, I want to be very clear on this. Where we have to be careful as conservatives is to not go the way of the liberal and do whatever we want to, regardless of the rule of law. One of the things we have to be very, very clear about is, one of the things we've griped about for the last 6 years of this administration is the lawlessness of the administration. When you turn around, you do the exact same thing in your official capacity, you're no better than the Democrat you're arguing against.
Trump has signed his RNC loyalty pledge. He's not going to run as a third-party candidate. This must get right in your craw, James Shannon.
Why in the world would it get in my craw? I'm in favor of third-party candidates.
I was certain that you were
Perot
against
is a
this.
Third party.
You'd
What
love
did he do?
that.
Are you
He put
surprised?
Bill Clinton in the White House.
Yes, he
He
did.
said publicly in the last debate on the Fox News channel he would not, in fact, pledge that he would.
Well,
not
he's
be a
changed his
third-party
mind. You know,
candidate.
he's changed his mind
Oh,
on
he
a
changed
few
his
issues in
mind.
the last, let's say, 15, 20 years.
So now he
That's
looks like
fine.
a waffling
look,
candidate.
the reason I think that he's doing this is because clearly it makes sense to support Romney, because really the top 2-3 candidates are not the candidate he was really against, which I think is Jeb Bush. I think the one guy he did not respect up there was Jeb Bush, and now that Jeb Bush is really running third and fourth, and Carson's passed them up in Iowa, for crying out loud. He said the other day, Trump did, that he was, a big supporter of Carson and thinks he'd be a great president. So, that was kind of a tacit endorsement away of some of the other lagging candidates that, he is not opposed to.
Final 30 seconds for James Shannon.
I had to laugh when Jeb's fading in the polls and some of these other minor candidates. Who should offer his name yet again? Good old Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney?
That's what the GOP needs,
Mitt Romney's not running. He's not going to jump in at this point.
He's threatening to.
No,
But,
he's not going to.
but that sort of indicates a state of flux.
Well,
And Carson, wants to arm drones down on the border to fire missiles at illegals trying to cross. I guess that's okay. It seems a little extreme.
Is it like duck shooting?
And of course, Scott Walker wants to build a wall on the U.S.-Canadian border, which is the longest peaceful border in the world.
Well, we do have to watch out for the influx of Canadians come across to get a hold of our health care now.
I don't know if I can.
You're kidding.
Quickly describe what he said. Shoot missiles at. I don't remember. Dr.
Carson wants
saying,
to put armed predator drones on the border, and they're armed with missiles.
That's one of the little red herring arguments he likes to throw out right before the end of a segment.
A little into the.
Hey, Dr. Carson said it, not me.
Baloney.
We'll look it up. And thank you, gentlemen, very much. We appreciate it. We're back with more on Trump and some of the other candidates in just seconds.